Hello everybody. We will discuss in this tutorial the concept of floors. We'll discuss lots of issues related to floors, and that will be a good start point because we're gonna revisit the same subject later on to add the final layer of the floors, but that will be the subject of the future video. Okay, the first thing, let me look at my building. Up until now you can see there are no floors at all, and if I go to 0F, I'm in the floor plans, 0GF. What I want to do, I want to cover the whole parameter of the building to cover my ground floor. We'll go to architecture. We'll go to floor, we will use floor architectural, then we will select one of the families as we used to do all the time, and the one that we will choose is inside to concrete 225 millimeter, as we did previously, as we will do in the future. Edit type, duplicate, and we will call it a 200 millimeter rather than 225. We'll remove the 2. We'll say OK. As we said previously, renaming it is not the real thing. We have to go to edit over here. Of course, if you go to preview, you will see the different layers. We have 3 layers. The total thickness of the 3 layers is 225 millimeter. What we will do, we'll change the concrete cast in Saito from 175 to 150, and once we do that, you can see now the total thickness is 200. That's what we want. Of course, the second and third are damp proofing with 0 because it's a membrane layer, and the third layer, which is concrete sand cement screed, it's a 50 millimeter thickness. Say OK, and we'll say OK to end the editing issue. Now we are over here to draw the boundary lines of the floor. As you can see now, a boundary line, and the button selected is pick walls. That would be the first time to pick walls, not lines. This is pick lines, by the way, or we can draw as we said. And we have the offset, if you want to offset inside or outside, and extend into wall to core. And we will discuss that in the first floor. We turn it off right now. And now my mouse will point at the end, at the outer edge of the wall. While I'm doing that, I will press the tab. So I'm selecting everything. And once the walls are highlighted, I'll click. I'm making sure that the magenta line, which should be, as we said, always, it should be continuous, no gaps, no openings, no overlaps. And it's from the outside of the wall. And we will say finish edit mode. And as you can see now, you added a floor. And if you look at it, it's now a floor covering the whole thing. Lots of other things that some people like to draw a rectangular shape as if it's the floor slab should not be at the size or parameter of the building. That's one of the things, and we can change it if we want to in the coming lessons. And okay, if you go to one of the elevation view, let's select the south, and I want you to take a look at the level that we put and the thickness of the floor. You can see that the thickness of the floor is beyond the level, which means that always Revit will deal with the floors as FFL, which is finish floor level. You have to understand this specific issue of consideration of Revit. Now let's go and do the floor plan for the first floor. We'll go to the floor plans to the 1F, and if there is anything that obscure your work, you can simply turn it off. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna select and two grids and say category. You can select this one as well and say hide in a view category, so I got a better look. Now if I look at the 3D, I have an entrance over here, so and there is somehow like a tower that will be once we start working with the roof, it will actually look like the real thing that we want. But as for the moment, I don't like to cover this space with any floor. So it's gonna be like going from here. The same thing goes for this part, because we have, as you can see, the storefront, and we want the sun rays to get inside this part to light it. We will not also as well cover this part. So our floor of the first floor is going to be in this area only, the area that I'm actually circulating my mouse over it. So what we will do, we'll go to floor again, floor architectural, and we're going to use the same family, which is inside to concrete 200 millimeter, and it's going to be over here for a pick walls, and I'm doing a boundary line. Now let me just get out of here and just let me just switch on the medium so you can look at the different layers of the wall. We have the gypsum board and we have the CMU. Let me select this and say edit type, edit on the structure. This is the concrete masonry units, which is 100. This is the one. And this is the gypsum wall board. This is the one, the 12 and the 100. We would like both of these to be above, it will be the floor is covering them. The rest will be outside the floors. So we would like to make sure that our boundary, our core boundary, which is concrete masonry units, is lying on the floor. The others, which are these three levels, which is almost 152 millimeter, these two, because one of them is vapor trader, is outside the floor. So it's actually connected to this layer, which is the CMU, the concrete masonry unit. So that's why once we go to the floor, let's go to floor architectural, and we want to define the boundary line, we'll say extend into wall to core. That means our floor will extend into core, as you can see now. So can you see the dashed blue line, which is actually going flush with the CMU? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna click over here. You can see I'm gonna click over here because this is turned on. I'm gonna click over here so the lines are right. I'm gonna click over, make sure that you are hovering over the right place. Okay, I said there are no floors over here. Do the same thing over here. We'll click and you should see that, and we will click over here. Now I would like to go outside of drawing, and I can do a very simple things. I'm gonna remove this, and I will use this trim extend to corner. Select this line and select this line so they will be continuous. The same thing goes for here. I'm gonna remove this and use this command again, trim extend to corner. I'm going to use this and this. One of the things that if you'd like, you can draw a line over here. So if you want your edge of the wall, your edge of the floor to be flush with this wall, you can do it so easily by drawing with a line, something like here, and change it to whatever you want. So this is one of the things that you can do. If you don't like to do it, no problem with that. Now, a very simple task over here saying that we have the staircase and the shaft, the elevator shaft, and we want this to be outside, so it should not cover it up. So what we can do, we can use the rectangle, and we will use it from here to here. And as the definition of Revit says, a boundary line inside another bigger boundary line means this is a void. So this is one of the things that you have to understand. I'm going to make a mistake, an intentional mistake, but I'm going to show you why I'm doing that. So we are done with that. So we'll say to finish edit mode. And there is a question over here, say, the floor roof overlaps the highlighted walls. They mean the floor by itself penetrate the wall. As we said, it penetrated up until it reached the edge of the outer edge of the core boundary. Would you like to join geometry and cut the overlapping volume out of the wall? This is what we want to do. So at the parameter of the floor, it's gonna cut part of the wall with the thickness of the floor. This is gonna be cut as an overlapping volume and removed out of the wall. We'll say yes, of course. That's the right thing. What is the mistake that we made? We have a plumbing chase over here and a plumbing chase over here. And I'm gonna show you two different solutions for this part. The first one, just like what we did in the shaft of the elevator and staircase, we'll say edit boundary, and we'll go over here and we will draw this shape, which is a rectangular shape, indicating that this is a void. And if we click on the edit, finish edit, you can see now in the 3D that the floor over here is opened, as you can see, because I created a void inside the boundary. Another solution for that would be, which I recommend, is what we call, if you go to architectural, this is the opening, and there is what we call a shaft. So we'll go to a shaft, and then we will draw the shape that we want, and we will draw a simple line. This is the good part. And then what we will do, we'll specify where does it affect the base constraint of the shaft, because it's going to penetrate the floor. And the base offset, 150 by minus, which is go below the level, is not good enough because the thickness of my floor is 200. So it's going to be a minimum of 200. I'm going to go with a 250. And I can make my shaft go to the parapet. So this is one of the things that I'll make sure now, even if I have a roof later on, this shaft will penetrate it as well. So the good advantage of that is the simple incline, because I have to draw a simple incline over here. I couldn't. And the thing over here is this shaft is going to penetrate all the levels within its this is the shaft opening within its limit, the limit that I specified over here. So these are two different solutions for your work. As you can see, now the shaft over here is opened and it's not covered by the floor. We're gonna find solutions for this edge and for this edge, and we will have this solution in the coming minutes. Once we start discussing railing and the other stuff related to this part. Now I'll go to the 0GF and I'll make sure that I'm looking at hidden lines, so it's going to be easier for you to see. One of the requirements for architects while you are in 0GF is to see the parameter of the floors above you or below you if it's different from the floor plan of what we are having here, which I mean in the 0GF. So one of the things that we can do, make sure that there's nothing selected in the properties for the floor plan. Go until you see what we call the underlay. And once you see it, you go like a range base level. The base level is the level that you are in, which is 0GF. I want to go and to see whatever in the 1F. But the underlay orientation is look down. I want to make it look up. Once I do that, you can see now that the edges of the floor is shown. Now, in order for this to be shown in the right line weight or line type, I have to go to Modify, and then under View, there is something called the line work. Choose the appropriate line style, which is overhead over here. Pick the edge, the first one, and the second one over here. With this, you can show whatever above you or below you, if you want, as the boundary edges of the floors. Great. Now, if you look at the 3D, what we want to do is, for the entrance over here, I want to introduce a wall. For this part, I want to introduce a wall over here and introduce a revolving door over here. What I can do, I can go over here and select one of these walls, right click and say create similar. Make sure that the finish face exterior. So if it did not work, you can flip it. It worked. And we will go like all the way. And we will check if it is yes. Great. So there is a joining as we see. Click on it. Make sure that the base is correct, which is 0GF. The base offset is the 0. The 1F is the right one, the up to level 1F, with a top offset of -1000. Okay, let's remove this, make it a 0. And let's look at the wall from this edge, from this part. And you can see now it's not covered up. It's not covered up. Is this what we want? We can push it a little bit to the inside. Let me see it as hidden line. You can see maybe the wall should be pushed a little bit. This is the wall. This is the floor. This is the wall. The wall is pushed a little bit to the inside. Don't know why, but we can correct this. There is no problem with that. It's just you can see now that the edge of the floor is, so we have to get it down a little bit. If we want to, we can get it down. Maybe because if you click on the wall, and we can use this handle over here to get it at below the edge of the floor, because at the end of the day, the wall should not interfere with the floor. It should be beneath it and should cover it up, so we can use this if we want to. Now, if the floor is a 200 millimeter thickness, we can add a minus 200 millimeter thickness, and you can see now the floor and the wall is in the right position. We'll go to the 0GF, go to architectural, we'll go to door, we'll go to load family, and not windows, we want doors. Yes, and we will go through the different walls, different doors, and none of these is what we want. So we'll go to commercial, and we will go to revolving. So it's not in the normal place. You have to go to commercial, and you have to go to this part and say open. We'll take the largest size, and we're gonna take it, and no, don't save. We're gonna take it and just simply input it over here, and look at it in the 3D. You can see it in the right place. So this is what we want, and as I said, we can find solutions for this part of the floor, which is an edge over here, an edge over here. We will add railing later on. Okay, great. Go to the PDF file and locate tutorial 5. Go to the RVT files, the Revit files, and locate tutorial 5 file and solve the tutorial. Thank you very much.